Ooh, and it's back to green screen. Hi, everyone. Michael Sandler here, your host on Inspire Nation with another Ask Michael Anything, where Jessica, who usually runs everything, is not here this evening. She's actually on a plane flying into Aspen as we speak. I finished this. I have one coaching session, and then I drive to Aspen Airport to go pick her up. So welcome, everyone. So glad you could join me. I have this beautiful backdrop here that I wanted you to see with a nice glacial lake. You can imagine there is a beautiful glacial lake. Instead, you get a little bit of my studio lighting. You get a little bit of the green screen. I'm not so sure why when it says it's working, it's not. On that note, if you stayed till the very end of last time, you'll saw I clicked that it was over and the comment stopped on the side and it just kept right on rolling. So we're going to see what happens here on that note and see what we can do so that when it says it's done, it's actually done. So with that said, a little bit of housekeeping, then we're going to dive right into a really important topic, the unbelievable power of one simple choice. With that said, once Jessica comes back, and she's been gone for a little over a week, I am very excited to have her back. Woohoo! Once she's back, we're going to have our magical evening routine program live. You're going to be able to find that at inspirenationuniversity.com. On top of that, we're 100% supported by you, our audience. So if you want to support the show, you want to become a Backstage Pass member, get lots of videos, fun stuff, kind of behind the scenes, what's going on here. Plus, I would say once every 3 to 4 days, daily words of wisdom. We're attracting in a team so that we can get you more regular words of wisdom. But you can go to patreon.com/Inspire Nation. I'll put the link for that here as well. So with that said, how is everybody doing this evening? I want to talk with you about making an important choice, the unbelievable power of a simple choice. So first off, I want to share with you, and I'm working on moving things around on my screen. I'm not able to see the, I'm not able to see the chat room right here. Before I begin, anybody tell me on the chat, are you hearing me okay? Is that at least coming through great? If so, we're going to dive right into things. Anybody? Carla, Juanita, Keke, Diana, Palma Lee. Anybody? Is the sound? Yes, we can hear me. Woohoo! All right, let's dive into things. So years ago, 2006, April 2nd, 2006, not that anybody's counting, I found myself in the hospital after a near-death accident. As the doctor went to roll me into surgery, he said, we've got to hurry up, Michael, because you're going to either lose your leg or lose your life. That's what I was told. But I chose to believe something else. I chose to believe that something great could come out of it. In fact, I remember telling the doctor, don't worry, doctor, it's going to go back together better than you ever expected it would. And sure enough, when he got me out of surgery, the next day he throws up an x-ray. He's like a kid in a candy store. And he goes, you're never going to believe it, Michael. It went back together better than I ever expected it would. Woohoo! So that was choice number one. A couple days later, after quite the fiasco in trying to get me to a chair where my blood pressure crashed through the floor, I almost passed out. And they had some sort of code going on the floor to try to get me back into bed. They shipped me to what's called a rehab hospital. I put that in quotes because it was a former sanitarium, insane asylum. It still had bars on the window. There were people moaning and screaming when I went in there, and I was told I would be there for a couple months or more to rehab. I had my dogs at home. I had my Coyote Mix Pumpkin. I had my service dog Sawa. There was no way in the world I wanted to stay in a place with bars in the window with people moaning all day and think I was going to get healthy. So I made a choice to leave that hospital. I got in there on Wednesday. My choice was to leave by Friday. And when they did intake, I said, will I be evaluated to see when I could leave on Friday? And they laughed and they said, no, you're going to be here for quite a while, at least a couple months. But I had made a choice. And that's what I'm talking about here. I said, Michael, what's it going to take to get out of here? And I said, well, you're going to have to be able to sit upright in bed without your blood pressure crashing. Couldn't do that. You're going to have to be able to get your legs to swing out of the bed, be able to get out of the bed, be able to get to the bathroom, use the bathroom, get down the hall, come back, get in bed, get dressed, all of this good stuff, brush your teeth, none of which I could do. Does this sound familiar? Are you finding yourself in terra incognita, a place where you have no idea how to step forward? I literally couldn't step forward. I couldn't breathe on my left leg, which now sported a titanium femur and a titanium spike through the hip and was opened up almost from the knee to the hip with, I don't know how many staples, 40, 60 staples, looked like Frankenstein's leg. And I had to find a way to get moving. But I had made a decision. And so first I visualized doing exercises with my leg in my head, pretending I was moving it, pretending I was bending it. I was doing sets of 10 in my head to tell my leg it's okay. Sort of like telling your ego, telling your small, scared child inside, it's okay to step forward. Everything's going to be all right. From there, I then had to actually start making very, very subtle, gentle, as I call it, kind, gentle, easy, good movements to start to get my leg to move. So I did sets of 10 of just contracting the muscles gently, not even moving the leg. Now, this is over hours. I got there, I think, at like noon on Wednesday. And by this point, it's probably 6 o'clock in the evening. Then, after I was able to start tightening the muscles of the leg without it spasming or tightening back, and that's the problem. We step forward too quickly, and our ego shoots ourselves in the foot. It fights back because it's too scared. So you step in very, very gingerly. So first, in my head. Second, contract. Third, now I actually start moving the leg. Woohoo! Hurt like hell, but it worked. And I start moving it a little bit, then a little bit more, then more. By 7 o'clock, I had this device. I called it the lasso. It's a long blue, hardened, almost climbing wire or climbing web with a wire through it with a lasso or hoop on the end that I could use to grab my foot and pull my leg up and put my leg down and pull my leg up again and gently swing it, oh dear Lord, off of the edge of the bed. Breathe, Michael. Bring it back off the edge of the bed. Breathe some more. We're going to drop it down. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. Little baby steps and back up. And I kept working on this thing until I can get my foot and my leg out of the bed onto a trash can, which I managed to grab empty and flipped upside down to rest my foot on it. And I practiced this for about an hour or so before I called my roommate and said, Justin, you've got to get yourself in here. I need a spot. How he got in when, I don't know what time visiting hours end, I'll never know. He got in there. They had set up a walker for me with kind of a contraption on it for my broken arm. I had one broken arm and the opposing broken leg, and had set it up for me. Actually, I think it was my left arm. It's been a while. And I had grabbed it, brought it into bed, and modified this thing so it was almost like aero bars on a bicycle. And when he got there, he gave me a spot, and I worked to get out of bed. And for the first time in 4 days, I got to use the bathroom. Woohoo! I've got to tell you, if you've ever been there where you're stuck on a bedpan and you get to use the bathroom, it is the greatest experience and joy in the world. So I worked till 12, 1, 2 in the morning, something like that. Barely got any sleep that night. The next day, I had a choice to make again when I asked for an evaluation to go home. And that choice was, am I going to step forward into myself? Am I going to face the fear? I have no idea how I'm going to bluff my way through this. I have no business even sitting upright, let alone I'm going to have to show them I can walk up and down the hall. But when that first nurse of the day came in and said, "How are you doing, Mr. Sandler?" I said, "Great, I'm going home today." She's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Oh, yes, I am." I said, "I worked all night. I can get in and out of bed. I can get up and down the hall. I need a PT or doctor to come evaluate me here because I'm going home tonight." And I was so firm and so strong in my conviction, as you need to do to step forward into your strength, that she coalesced. She said, "All right, I will find somebody to see you. I can't make any promises." Found a PT later that morning, had me get up and out of bed. That was a challenge. Had me get dressed, huge challenge. Had me go up the hall, massive challenge. And then she had me go down the stairs. Are you kidding me? Down the stairs to the PT department to prove I could do it and back up the stairs before they would consider releasing me. I really have no idea how I did it. And that evening, when I got home and I had to find a way just to get out of the car, which took over an hour, let alone getting up the stairs, which took more than another hour, I have no idea how I did it. But I did it, and I got to go home. And it was the greatest joy in the world, even though, oh my God, the next day I was stuck in bed till my roommate got up. I couldn't get up to pee. I couldn't even sit upright because I was used to in bed having this triangle in the hospital to pull myself up. And I was stuck flat on this bed, but I made it home. From there, I'm going to just double check here, make sure everything looks good still on this thing. From there, each and every day I had to make a decision to live. Oh my God, was it painful? A decision to my move. Did I mention how painful it was? And a decision to turn this into a positive experience. So first, I lay in bed for a few weeks. Actually, the coolest thing in the world was when this health insurance company dropped off an electric bed, which we replaced with the couch so I could sit upright and down. To me, that was like better than having a Ferrari dropped off. But first, I was in bed for a few weeks. Then I chose to get out of bed and train. I committed myself to doing the Boulder 10K. Now, first off, I probably should have been committed for that, but I made a choice that I wasn't going to wallow in bed anymore. I was going to step forward, and I made a goal for myself. Try it. See if I can finish. What's the worst that can happen? My first day's training was going around the house, a little condo building. And then the next day's training was, can I make it twice? And then can I make it 3 times? Each time I made a decision, and I finished that race. I was still sleeping in my hospital bed, though. I still didn't know how to get out of bed without those rings. But I was invited to speak at a national conference for kids and adults with learning disabilities and attention deficit disorder. And so I managed to get myself on a plane and fly myself down to Orlando to give a series of talks. I chose to better my situation, even though it was incredibly challenging. After that, a year later, I was struggling. I was able to walk. I couldn't get myself running again. I was told I wasn't going to be able to. But each day I was making a decision to choose health, to choose the greatest version of myself, to choose to step forward no matter what. That's my challenge for you here today, is to step forward into your greatness, which we all have inside of us. And so one day, kind of on a whim, more out of desperation, I stripped off my shoes. Crazy thing is, when I started getting barefoot, my nervous system woke up. I started standing taller. I started landing lighter. And I learned how to run again. Actually ended up writing a bestseller with Jessica on barefoot running and barefoot walking. I know this. When a client comes to me and wants change, It's not up to me whether I can help them or not. It's not up to anything in the world. It's not how many tools you have. It's not how much this. It's not even how much motivation a person has. If you want great change, it all comes down to a choice. Will you choose it? Will you choose to step into your greatest shoes and into your greatest life? Everything, everything, everything in life is a choice. We get to live intentionally. Look at a former alcoholic. Each minute of every day is an intentional choice not to go out and take a drink. Not once a day making a choice, not making a choice at AA and then for the rest of their lives, everything is perfect. Every minute, every second of every day is a choice for him or her. And they're my heroes. But guess what? You're my hero too. You've chosen to listen to this. You've chosen to feed yourself with goodness. And you can choose to step forward too. For many, the big choice in life the reason so many of us are challenged in making this choice is because it means we have to step into our own power. We live in a disabling, not an enabling society, a disabling society. Go to the newspaper rack, look at what's wrong with this person, what's wrong with that person, what's wrong with the other person, or why you're not good enough, fit enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, intelligent enough, or making enough money. Everything in this society is set up to disable or disempower you. So stepping into our power is going against the grain and is incredibly scary. It means we get to drop the story of who we are, where we come from, what we've been through, or how we're a victim of somebody else, a victim of chance, a victim of our life, a victim of fate. I'm sharing with this story here with you of my accident, not to say, look at me, poor me, but to understand that we can step forward beyond our past, on the other side of our story. It means we can no longer be a victim or live in a victim mentality, whether that's being a victim of disease, of injury, of illness, of individual, of work, of anything else. So the big question is, what's the choice that you haven't made? What's the choice that's so incredibly scary? I heard it recently. Somebody said on the show that they had a flock of butterflies. I love that. A flock of butterflies in their belly. What scares you in your belly so much you dare not step forward? Of course, you know what I'm going to say here as your coach. If you, if you feel that flock of butterflies, you have to step forward. In less than 2 weeks, I believe it's the Wednesday, the 27th of November. I can't believe it. Wednesday, the 27th, we will hit our 1,000th show on iTunes. Now, including some meditation shows, over 100 of them that we uploaded, it'll actually be well over 1,000. But technically on iTunes, and we're doing our best to catch up on YouTube, we will hit our 1,000th show. If I was to wake up this morning and say, Michael, I want you to do 1,000 shows starting now, I'd go right back to bed. I would be like, oh my God, how can I choose to do 1,000, to commit to making do you know how much work that is, Michael, to make 1,000? Do you know how many books you've got to read? Do you know how much this? Do you know how much that? Do you know how many hours? Oh my God. But instead, I made a decision one morning to step forward. Both Jessica and I did. She's in there for 1,000 show as much as I am. Made the decision to step forward before the show started and record shows when the show started, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day, and so forth until this morning. I woke up, rolled out of bed for our 989th show, I believe it was, put my feet on the ground, went over, did my automatic writing, wrote out my intentions. Everything in life is intentional, has to be intentional. You are a co-creator of your existence. And then I chose to step forward another day. Each morning, each day, we get to choose anew who we are and what we are capable of. It means the past doesn't matter. It's today that matters. Here's the coolest thing. Right now, who you are in this moment is in large part a reflection of the choices you made in the past. Don't let this scare you. Don't let this be something that you kick yourself for there's a lot more that took place. You're not responsible for everything, but you are for your choices. Who you are tomorrow is a result of what and who you choose to be today. That means you're free. You're free in this moment to choose. You're free before you go to bed to reprogram your mind and to choose. You're free when you wake up each morning. And I encourage you, on top of doing daily intention work each morning, write out your mission statement. Where are you going in the world? What are you choosing to step forth? You are so incredibly powerful. You are the divine incarnate. You're a piece of spirit in human form. I look at it as a giant bush. That's humanity. That's the world. That is the oneness of all of us. And you're a beautiful rose ready to bloom. Who will you choose to be in this moment? Who will you choose to be in this next day? My mission statement that I write out each day, and it changes and it morphs slightly each and every day, is to help raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, help shift humanity to a new level while having fun, being healthy, diving deep, exploring nature, and spending quality time with my family. Raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, help shift humanity to a new level while having fun, being healthy, diving deep in my spiritual practice, exploring nature, and spending quality time with my family. What's yours? It's all about a choice. How do you know if you're making this choice? Look at where you are today. Your life is a reflection, just as I was saying. And then say no more. Today, tomorrow, I am going to choose something different. I am going to choose to be the best version of myself I possibly can be. And step forward with tiny little baby steps, like telling the muscle it's okay to fire. Take stock of your life. Ask yourself the difficult questions. What's the choice I've been refusing to make? What's the choice I've been scared to make? What's the choice that would empower me so fully it freezes me completely in my tracks? That's when you know you're on path. That's when you know you're on fire. When you find what scares you so completely and totally, and you step forward. We're all scared of our power. We're all scared of our greatness, of who we are truly capable of being if we fully step forward into who we truly are. That's the greatest choice of all. That's the greatest question. Am I willing to step forward despite my fear into who I'm capable of being, of who you already are deep on the inside and who you were meant to be? Ask questions, then step forward And of course, you know you're asking the right questions when you're scared silly. That's your ego wanting to lash back. The ego, that small, still voice, not the one that guides you. It's actually not very small and still. The one that's screaming at you, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. What are you thinking? You've been a screw up all along, this long. Michael, huh? Why would you even think you can do it? The ego wants to keep you small and, in theory, to keep you safe. But being comfortable on the couch isn't living life, and it's not safe. You didn't come here to play it small. You came here to live an epic life, to live, to grow, to experience, to trip, to fall, to get back up, and to start running all over again. You were meant for greatness. Really, yes, you were meant for greatness. So what choice can you make today, in this moment, right now, to step forward into who you were meant to be? Each of you, each of us, we come from greatness. We are greatness. We couldn't be anything less than greatness, no matter what we do. So we might as well fully step into it and embrace all that we are. When we're children, it's snuffed out of us. We're cute and cuddly when we first come into this world. And then all these rules are set up to protect us. There's a great expression, comes from Japan. The tallest nail gets hammered down. We were taught to play it small, not to stick ourselves out there, not to put ourselves out there, not to stand tall, not to stand proud, but to go along with the crowd. Watch almost any animated movie all day, and you see the kids getting picked on who are willing to step into their greatness. We're taught to play it small, and we do just that. We get indoctrinated into our smallness. But I'm here to challenge you. There's something much, much more for you. There's something more than this life. There's something more than the struggles you're going through. There's something more than anything you're going through right now. And let me say, you are perfect just as you are. And at the same time, you get to step forward into your greatness. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? But the struggles of the past and a feeling like there's something more for you. If only I could choose. If only I could choose. And I encourage you, I give you the key. You can choose. You can unlock your future today. Now is your time. Now is your time to remember who you truly are and make that choice. Make that commitment to yourself. Make a commitment that's as strong as your commitment to breathe the air that's around you. If you commit so completely and fully to this decision more than anything else in the world, then I guarantee, and though it may not be easy, I guarantee you will find the greatness that's inside of you. So each and every morning, you owe it to yourself. If you're spiritual, you owe it to the energy that made you to live your greatest life. Live your soul's journey. Live your purpose. Live your passion. Live until it hurts. And I'm sorry, it will. And then live some more. By each and every morning, do your intention work. Write it out. Write out your mission statement and make that choice again. With one simple choice, you can truly choose everything. So with that said, I'm going to choose to go back to the main screen. I'm going to choose to take some questions from people here. We may wrap up just a little bit early so I can give myself a buffer to pick up Jessica. I can't wait next week's Ask Michael Anything. We will have Jessica back and we will be talking about more great stuff. So with that said, let me see what we have for questions here. And I'm going to scroll back. Hi, Pomeline. Hi, Diana. Hi, Keke. Hi, Juanita. Hi, Carla. Diana, Carla, D. Everybody can hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Please write your questions out now. Got lots of woohoos, lots of hear me. Do I need to give up smoking? From Carol. Beautiful question. Do I need to give up smoking to be more present as a vehicle of source? So, Carol, this is a crazy question coming from a health nut. You totally don't need to give up smoking. However, you can ask yourself, what is smoking giving me that's allowing me to play it small? What does my ego have to gain by me identifying myself as a smoker? What do I have to gain in disabling myself by continuing this habit? Now, I'm not making light of it. I've struggled with addictions in the past myself. I totally get it. But everything is a choice. Now, it may not be easy. You may have to get help. You may have to get on a program. You can certainly get assistance on this. Why do we all try to do things on our own? It takes a village to raise any one of us. Get the village involved. Get the help that you need. But to step into your power, it can help. Now, I remember way back when I was working retail, there was an amazing gentleman, a manager, Doug. And before that, this was in my early 20s. Before that, I used to actually, my apologies, judge people who smoked. I don't judge anybody for anything now. My apologies for that. And Doug was an amazing manager, and he had a mind that was always going and always going and always going. And smoking calmed his mind down and helped him to focus. And I realized that there was something really positive that he was getting out of it. So there may be something really positive, Carol, that you're getting out of it as well. I would challenge you to look into that and then to choose to find something else. You don't have to choose to not smoke this instant and be done with it. You could, but you could choose to figure out what the heck is going on. What is it masking inside of me? And then to put the pieces in place quickly. I'm not talking about over weeks or months. I'm talking about over days, perhaps. You could put a note on the calendar that says Friday, for instance, last cigarette. Choose. And you choose to wake up tomorrow morning and figure this out. And you choose to wake up Thursday morning and put more pieces in place. And on Friday, you choose to call up some friends and say, I need help. I'm quitting now. What can you do to help me? To be more present is a vehicle of choice, you ask, Carol. To be more present. The fact that you're asking that implies that the smoking helps take you away from seeing yourself. That is a big choice, Carol. The choice to step forward and to ask each morning, who am I? Why am I so terrified of seeing myself? And what's going on? What in the world is going on the inside? And then to start to lean into that. Now, that may be through books. It may be through journaling. Certainly can be through automatic writing. It may be through getting a counselor. It certainly could be from getting a coach. But start to make that choice to lean into yourself. It may be childhood trauma that you have to work on. It may be some other trauma in your life. But choose to start leaning into it. And last thought, no man or woman is an island. When you make this choice, recruit. You don't have to go it alone. Thank you so much, Carol, for your beautiful and brave question. Next question from Guadalupe. I love that name. If we are the creators of our reality, where does destiny end up? Ooh, that's a great question, Guadalupe. I look at it, my best description, my best guess, and it's only a guess at that, is many years ago, I rescued my dog, Sawa. She wasn't my dog yet, from a farm where they said you either take her or you shoot her. I had been visiting her on the farm for 6 months. She'd been attached to she had a collar. She had a little chain link, literally, taking her to a cable line of which she had like a 50-foot run back and forth. And she kept on being given away to different hunters because she was a hunting breed. And she would run away and they would put her back on the line. They'd give her to the next family, put her back on the line. I kept asking for her. They said, "Are you going to hunt?" I said, "No." They said, "We're not giving her to you." And she was out in rain. She was out in thunderstorms. She was one freaked out little puppy. That line, to me, represents our life from point A to point B. We're all going along this line. Now we are attached to this lead, but we can choose to go off to the side one way, pretty far, and then get pulled back, or to the other way pretty far, and then get pulled back. But we are always going up and down this line. To me, life is about a journey from A to point B that's been scripted from before we were here. Literally, my guess is, I could be totally wrong on this, we sat down or stood in front of a council of elders and we chose what we wanted to learn this lifetime. We probably didn't get the whole storyline. It was probably written for us, maybe in the Akashic Records, but we came here to play out that storyline to learn specific things. Now, as I think Marlon Brando said in Godfather, you can do this the easy way or the hard way. You have free will to go up and down the sides of that line until you choke yourself, but you're still going to go down the line. Now, it's much more fun to go with flow and just zip on down that thing, whee, and experience all that life has to offer. But if you want to pull and tug to one side and pull and tug to the other side, you can do that as well. It's a co-creation. What you experience, you have free will. What you experience is along that line. How far you want to go one way or the other way. What do you want to see? And you go, but I could do or go anywhere. Well, based on where you're born, your life circumstances, your parents, your income, your economic situation, your health, your anything, we are all going up and down a line. And so the more that you can get into flow, the more that you can quiet the mind, the more you can discover who you are, the more you choose to experience everything possible along that zip line, the better and the more enjoyable the journey. Doesn't mean you might not get stuck out in a thunderstorm or stuck out in the snow. Doesn't mean life is going to always be pleasurable. Certainly doesn't mean you're not going to be stuck in some mud. But it is much easier to figure out where your heart's at and what it wants to do, and then to drop the resistance of pulling to the side and instead go with that flow down that line and experience the joy of all that life has to offer. What a brilliant, brilliant question, Guadalupe. So let's see. Is there any question why Michael started Inspire Nation? Hard to imagine other people recovering this way. I don't know, Carla. I think we've all got it inside of us. We all have our own unique journeys. And so not everybody would come out of that situation thinking, let's start Inspire Nation. But I don't know. I guess I was gifted. I had a lot of injuries and accidents early in life. At age 10, I was racing the babysitter. The babysitter's cousin on my Huffy bicycle. She hit a rock, hit my Huffy 56 Thunder. I did a Superman through the air and ended up with 6 knee operations and a hole where my ACL used to be. And I was told, you'll be lucky to walk. You won't be able to run again. And here, let's show you the arthritis in your knee. That means by the time you're 17, 18, you may have troubles walking. Well, I chose not to believe it. Are you kidding me? I can rehab this thing. I can go to the gym. I can run and play. I can. I'm an icon. You're an icon too. We're all icons. Based on the choices we make, depends on how great of an icon we want to be. We can icon almost anything. Okay, I'm not able to be Michael Jordan. I don't know I'm ever going to be able to do a dunk. Again, I have my own unique zip line. But what's the icon I can do on my zip line? What are the choices I can make? Each one of us has that greatness inside of us. Each one of us has our past experiences, which rather than holding us back and pulling us down into the muck and the mire, can help us to grow. Just for the record, I became a professional level athlete for many, many years. I raced bicycles in Europe. I still run. I ran yesterday 1,500-foot vertical gain in 3 miles, Sunday now, and then came running down it with my knees with all these titanium parts from a few past accidents and the missing ACL, and ran phenomenally well because I chose and choose each day not to believe anything that anyone tells me about myself except what the greatest voice inside of me tells me what I'm capable of, and instead of what I choose to believe. Is this living life with blinders on? I sure hope so, because I want to put blinders on to what everybody tells me is or isn't possible. And I want to dream my greatest dream. All right, let's see if we've got a few more questions. Vashti, who am I choosing to be? Absolutely, absolutely. Blessings on her, girl. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? Meditation, visualization merged into reality and fruition this morning. Within minutes, a big woohoo. How do I ramp up and keep in the flow of this amazing feeling? Great, great question, Anthony. How do we keep in this flow? Part of it is aligning yourself with your greatest good. Meaning, we all know on some level, even if it's been squashed out of us, we all know on some level what gives us joy. We have to choose and fight for it to bring it back into our lives. Notice, I'm not a fighter, but you get to stand forward and be an open-hearted warrior. We all came here with a gift or gifts wrapped around our hearts. Our job is to unwrap the gift. What is the gift? Whatever we're passionate and excited about, then get in alignment with that. Forget about how much it's going to pay. Forget about what even your parents think about it. Forget about what society thinks about it. But if it's in alignment with your heart, that's the direction you get to go in. That's part A. Part B. Life is a living, walking, talking prayer. Life is sacred. Unless you're a fully realized being, that's my guess, I'm not one of them. But unless you're a fully realized being, it's really easy to forget who we are, to forget that this world is just a learning school, that it's a holographic image designed to help teach us and to help us to grow. And we go back into the collective amnesia, sleepwalking through life in disappointment, in discouragement, in despair, in anxiety, and in depression. So each morning we get to choose, as you did, Anthony, to step forward into your greatest self. And then, like I mentioned with the alcoholic earlier, you get to choose each hour. You get to choose each minute. You get to choose almost each second to stay in a place of living prayer, to stay in a place of love. Is that doable? Darn, it's difficult. For myself, I forget and forget and forget again. And then I remember I'm choosing love, I'm choosing love, I'm choosing love. Love is your greatest self. With practice, you remember this more and more and more until when crap goes down, you may not necessarily celebrate it, but you recognize it for what it is, an opportunity. I did the bike ride across the country, 2004. 5,000 miles, 40 days, solo, unsupported, help people with learning disabilities. And the first day, I got 7 flat tires. Started out going through a tunnel in Portland, Oregon, trying to get to the West Coast before going down and then zipping up and across all the way to the East Coast and down the East Coast. 7 flat tires. I'm going, oh my God. The next day, I crashed the bike, broke the rack, sprained an ankle, sprained a knee. I'm going, oh my God. The next day, I can barely get going, more flat tires, and I'm almost freezing to death. Oh my God. And on it went until somewhere between 7, 8, 9, 10 days in, I began to realize the, oh my God, was just there to make me stronger. What do you mean? Well, I chose to fix a flat. I chose to fix the next flat. When I fell in a tunnel and my head came a foot or two from a passing RV tire. Oh my God. And I got out of the tunnel and I'm bawling. I'm crying. The bike is broken. I don't know how I'm going to continue. I was literally bawling. I knew I was like 12 miles uphill or 12 miles down the hill. I was up above it to get to the next town. And I made a choice, and I had to make a choice each day. Even when they wrote about me in the Reno Times or something, wrote about this, the most unprepared guy in the world who is absolutely destined to fail. I made a choice to set out across the desert, and I was going to make it there. Not just to prove them wrong, but I was going to make it across the country into DC. And so here I am coming out of this tunnel and I'm crying, and I tied everything to my back and I made a choice. And that choice was, I am going to find a way downhill to the nearest town. And then I will decide what to do next. And I made it into town. I cried in a Subway. As a card-carrying vegan or vegetarian, I got myself in Subway a meatball sub that I hadn't had since I was a little kid. And it reminded me of pure joy of like innocence of childhood. Oh, a meatball sub. And then I chose to go to the bike shop in town and chose to have them repair the bicycle and chose to step out on the journey. So Anthony, it's continuous choices along your path. You can make things ritual. You can use reminders. You can have stones or crystals or bracelets or slogans or anything it takes to help keep you from going into sleepwalk, into the collective coma, and keep reminding you of that choice you're making over and over again. And then you can step forward into your greatness. That is a brilliant, brilliant question, Anthony. Thank you so, so much. I think we have time for 2 or 3 more questions. Let's see where we have. And once we wrap up, I think a week or 2 ago, somebody gave a question after I said we were wrapping up. Please either put your question below or email it to us. You can do that. There's a little box right on our website. Email it to us to make sure we can ask that or answer that question for you the following week. Steve, will you be doing any interviews with people like Matt Landman about radio frequencies, radiation, and bringing awareness about the need for all of us to have orgonite? That is a great, great question, Steve, particularly as I lived on Maui for several years. Like we moved to Maui, I think like a week after Fukushima took place. So anybody that you want to have on the show, post it below. This is actually guest outreach week. And we are going to look through all of the potential guests. So please write out anybody that you'd like on the show. You can put it here. You can put it on our Facebook page. You can email it to us directly. But let us know who you would like to have on the shows. And then Jessica's job is to choose all of our guests. So all of the great guests that we have on the show are all dependent on Jessica and universe aligning so that that person wants to be on the show. So Steve, put that below, and that's one that Jessica can look into as well. Steve Phillips, what is love? Ooh. If ever there was a bigger question, I don't know what it is, Steve. To me, love is the energy that binds and holds and permeates. It holds us all together. It permeates all of us. It's everything that we're made of. We are made of matter, which is not matter. We are made of energy, which is not energy. And we are made of an invisible fabric of the universe, which I consider love. We came from love. We are pure love. We're walking, talking expressions of love. And though we forget it on a regular basis, we couldn't be anything less than love, no matter how we try. Now, you can call love the energy that is and of each one of us, You can call it love. You can call it source. You can call it universe. You can call it inner wisdom. You can call it God. You can call it Allah. You can call it Jesus. You can call it Brahma. You can call it anything. We are all pure love. We came from love. We will return to love. Here we temporarily have collective amnesia. But we can wake up from the supposed, apparent, and unreal opposite of love, because there is nothing that's not love, and go to fear. They say it's fear or love. The thing about fear is it's still love. Everything is love. Everything is here to serve us. It may not appear that way in this lifetime, but you're infinite. You're infinite beings appearing to be having a finite experience. But you came from love, you're going back to love. When you can grasp that everything is love, it all changes. But let me tell you, that's not that easy. That's not to scare you away. But that's to say, when you trip and fall, or more importantly, when a loved one trips and falls, it is going to be so incredibly difficult to not go to that place of fear, because we love our loved ones so much. But it truly, at the end of the day, all is love. The little voice inside of me wants me to say, what about tragedies? Tragedies, I don't ever want to say, oh, something great is going to come out of it. If anybody tells you that, run. But over the course of lifetimes, looking at this world as an infinite experience, realizing that we are here to learn and to grow, there's a lot more in the works than meets the eye. Grief is still grief. Losing a loved one is still the most tragic thing there is, period. But there is something more. And I believe with all my heart of hearts, they're returning to love. I've got time for one last question here. And perfect. We have one last question from Steve Phillips again. How do I make choices? Now, I don't believe what you're saying is how do I make the choice? I believe what you're saying, Steve, is how do I balance things and understand which way to go? Steve, your heart always knows. The trick is our heart is, I want to say occluded, but I'm going to go with a good Buddhist term, obscurated, covered by all of these layers of film, one layer after the next, after the next, after the next, which blocks us from seeing and being able to feel what the true answer is. So, if you are a new coaching client of mine, what I would tell you is we want to help you go from KEGO, all the voices of the monkey mind ego going on all the time up here, and help you to drop down into, we'll call this KEGO, into KHRT, all heart, all the time. It's a practice. My favorite tool, of course, automatic writing. I do it almost each and every morning to be able to get outside of myself or to dive deep within myself and to hear my deepest thoughts, to hear my heart, and to get highest level guidance. Could be doing morning pages. Sometimes journaling works as well. It's a phenomenal start. It's a beautiful place to start. It can be taking quiet walks in nature, stepping outside of yourself. It can be being with yourself. Something we're taught never to do. Just go on, turn on the tube and see everybody in every commercial going to a party, going to drink, going to this, going to that, but never going to just be with ourselves. It takes leaning forward on the inside. If I want to make a big decision, first off, I want to be doing some meditation, because I know if I don't quiet the mind, then I'm not going to be coming from that love place. I'm going to be coming from the chatterbox of the ego. Then I'm going to do a bunch of writing. Then I'm going to go quiet. I'll probably take some quiet time in nature, and exceptionally rarely, other than Jessica, will I ask anybody about it, because though people love and support me dearly, they're not in my shoes. They're on their own life path, not mine. And then I step forward, knowing that I've made the perfect decision. What do I mean by a perfect decision? I mean, it is the perfect decision to make today to help me to learn something. There is no one right answer. There is no perfectionism. There is no possibility of being perfect each step of the way. All it is learnings. All it is learning. Something great can come out of decision A or decision B. The most importantly thing is to step forward, because making no choice is a very powerful or disempowering choice. And with every choice that you make, you're going stronger in yourself, you're growing stronger in your heart, you're growing stronger in who you're capable of being, and it becomes easier and easier to make the next decision. I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you guys so much for joining us here this evening. It has been a true honor to speak with you. I am so thrilled to do this. I'm also so thrilled to have Jessica back on the mic with me next week. If you love the show, let us know who you'd like to have on, and we will do our best to reach out to them. And if you want to support the show, we would love your support. Come on over to patreon.com/Inspire Nation. Become a Backstage Pass member. And don't forget that within the next week, we should have the Magical Evening Routine program out to help you with your evening, to help you make those choices, to help you live intentionally, and to help you get your best night's sleep. Because when we are exhausted, and this society is set up to make you strung out and as exhausted as possible, when you are exhausted, it is so incredibly difficult to step forward into your true power, to step forward into who you are meant to be, and to make that greatest one choice. That's it from here. Have the most beautiful evening ahead. Above and beyond all else, shine bright. I'm going to end this now, and we are going to see, based on last week, whether it actually ended or not. So I am going to click end stream. And then if anybody sees that you're still seeing me here typing away at the computer, then please write something in the chat box. Drop us a line through Inspire Nation Show and let us, drop a line at, just right through the text box on their page. It'll go right to me. Let us know that the show is still growing strong so I can find a way to end it. That's it from here. I send all my love your way. May this evening, this moment, and certainly tomorrow morning be your opportunity for the greatest choice of your life to step into who you were meant to be. No pressure, all baby steps, tiny little baby steps. And above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you guys so much.